brother, call a girl up, injure a hoe. Trying to make a sister feel low, you know all of that got to go. Now everybody knows there's exceptions to this rule. I don't be getting mad when we playing, it's cool. But don't you be calling me out my name. I bring rap to those who disrespect me like a dame. That's why I'm talking. One day I was walking down a block, I had my cut off shorts on, right? Cause it was crazy hot. I walked past these dudes when they passed me. One of them felt my booty, he was nasty. I turned around red, somebody was catching a rat. Then the little one said, and laughed. Since he was with his boys, he tried to break fly. I punched him dead in his eyes, said, who you calling UNITY? You gotta let him know. UNITY, that's the one. Here we go. UNITY, you gotta let him know. You ain't a bitch, you're a hoe. Here we go. UNITY, you gotta let him know. UNITY, that's the one. Here we go. UNITY, you gotta let him know. You ain't a bitch, you're a hoe. No matter how hard the day may seem, you keep pushing into the night.
And welcome out. Thanks a lot for joining us.
And if you're stuck in a corner,
Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, Greater Hudson Valley chapter, New York, and the Westchester County chapter of the Links Incorporated.
You've been swept up by waves of tragedy, and you're in a pool of doubt.
We got a fabulous topic of conversation featuring Sister Souljah.
You may have been knocked down many times before.
You're in the warm-up.
Certainly not out.
For yours truly, the legendary Chris Washington. Come on now.
I say, my brother, hold on just a little while. My sister, be strong, for the sun's about to shine. Oh, mother, father, although the well is dry, still sing your song. Keep on pushing on. Keep on pushing on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, those situations may move like the wind, and you don't understand. No, no, no. Just keep on pushing on and look to the sky, 'cause you're a part of a bigger plan. Hear me when I say, my brother, hold on just a little while. My sister, be strong, for the sun's about to shine. Oh, mother, father, although the well is dry, still sing your song. Keep on pushing on. Keep on pushing on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on. Yeah. Diamond in the back, sun rooftop. Yeah. Digging the scene where the gangsters lean clean. I got drive like a Cadillac convertible. Volume on 10, I keep on pushing like Curtis do. Make sure they heard it. Make sure they know your name. Sometimes I feel like only hope remains is growing pains. Police will try to push you like you got some nerve. You need corrective surgery after they protect and serve. They kill us in the streets and take us down a notch. It's legal as the drugs that they sell you over the countertop. Come out, so when we stand up for ourselves, I can't be proud enough. I spread it through the valley, I'm screaming it from the mountaintops. I don't cook crack, nah, homie, I push back. Ironically, a student of history, never look back. We know the government built us where the crooks at. We don't deal with your opinions, cause it's just that. Brother, hold on, just a little while. Come on. My sister, you be strong, for the sun's about to shine. Oh, mother, father, although the weather's dry, keep pushing on, keep on singing your song.
Baby, let's cruise away.
Yo, what's up? You're listening to the legendary Chris Washington.
Don't be confused. The way is clear. And if you want it, you got it forever. This is not a one-night stand, baby. So let the music take a mind. Just release and you will find you're gonna fly away. Glad you're going my way.
Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon.
The legendary Chris Washington.
Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, gangsta white walls, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean, gangster white wall, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall.
A message in the music.
Just be thankful.
It's really what we're about today.
For what you got.
Listen to the message from Sister Souljah today.
Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Woo. Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean.
Not only is she a best-selling author, but she's also award-winning artist. Sister Souljah gonna be with us today. This is her track. It's called My God is a Powerful God. We're welcoming Sister Souljah to the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon. Westchester County Links.
Hey, Sister Souljah, what's up?
New York Links, thank you.
How you doing? All right. My name is Finesse. I seen you on Video Music Box. I was like wondering, where you get your strength and your power from?
I get my power from God.
From God? Seems like you're all militant and all of that. I was like wondering even if you believe in God.
Hey, I was raised in the church. I believe in God.
You do?
Yeah, black people have always been spiritual, you know.
I know that.
When we were taken from Africa, we lost a lot of our culture. We were taught to be ashamed of our beliefs, and we lost a lot of religious power. Anyway, anytime you lose your God, you know you lost the war, right?
Yeah, the war. You always be talking about we are at war. Like, what you mean when you be saying that?
You live on these streets, brother. The war between good and evil.
Then who is God?
Hey, God is within you. God is within me. God is within every brother and sister out here.
Right. See, I share that same belief, but I'm trying to figure out within myself, why doesn't everybody else believe that?
Because the Europeans, you know, the white people, they painted an image of a powerless and empty God.
Right.
You know, a God that doesn't look like you, doesn't look like me.
I agree with you on
this God cooperates with injustice and goes along with anything.
Yeah, I dig what you're saying.
They gave us a God that loves his enemies, regardless of the evil actions that he does.
True.
They gave us a God who does not even bring about law, justice, equality, and balance.
Right.
Yo, the average brother or sister like yourself doesn't even believe in God because they say if there was a God, black people wouldn't be living the way we do all across this world.
You're right. You know, you're absolutely right about that.
Finesse, man, come on, man, we out of here. What you doing?
Yo, what's up, man? Yo, hold on. Just give me a few more minutes. You know what I'm saying? That's my partner, TLC, you know?
Souljah, how you doing?
Hey, what up?
All right. Yo, you keep doing what you're doing, all right?
All right, peace.
Yeah, so, you know, back to what we were saying, because I got to hurry up, because you know my man want to hurry up and break it off, you know? But anyway, sister, being that I'm a black man, you know, you're a black woman, why don't you explain to me what you think God is?
My remember the times when they bought and they sold you. We are at war. That's what I told you.
Back in the front. Back in the front.
That's what I told you.
Back in the front. Back in the front.
That's what I told you.
Back in the front. Back in the front.
That's what I told you.
Two motorcycle officers horribly wounded in a deadly crossfire. The police seemingly unable to rescue them in spite of several desperate and heroic attempts. It's completely
Crimes won't get guns and packed up on ammunition. Now that they see that it's a critical condition. Racism was here, but they didn't take it seriously. And then they said that I was crazy.
Big boys and girls, listen up. You can be anything in the world, and God we trust. An architect, doctor, maybe an actress, but nothing comes easy. It takes much practice. Like I met a woman who's becoming a star. She was very beautiful, leaving people in awe. Singing songs, Lena Horne, but the younger version. Hung with the wrong person, got her strung on that. Sniffing up drugs, all in the nose. Could've died so young, now looks ugly and old. No fun, cause now when she reaches for hugs, people hold their breath, cause she smells of corrosion and death. Watch the company you keep and the crowd you bring, cause they came to do drugs and you came to sing. So if you're gonna be the best, I'ma tell you how. Put your hand in the air and take the vow. I know I can.
I know I can
Be what I wanna be.
what I wanna be.
If I work hard at it,
If I work hard at it,
I'll be where I wanna be.
I'll be where I wanna be. I know I can. I know I can be what I wanna be. Be what I wanna be. If I work hard at it, if I work hard at it, I'll be where I wanna be. I'll be where I wanna be.
Be boys and girls, listen again. This is for grown-looking girls who's only 10. The ones who watch videos and do what they see. As cute as can be, up in the club with fake ID. Careful, before you meet a man with HIV. You can host a TV like Oprah Winfrey. Whatever you decide, be careful, some men be rapists. So act your age, don't pretend to be older than you are. Give yourself time to grow. You thinking he can give you wealth, but so young boys, you can use a lot of help, you know. You thinking life's all about smoking and ice. You don't wanna be my age and can't read and write. Begging different women for a place to sleep at night. Smart boys turn them in and do whatever they wish. If you believe you can achieve, then say it like this. I know I can.
Come on now.
Be what I wanna be.
This message is not just for the youth, it's
If I
for all
work
of
hard
us.
at it,
If I work hard at it,
I'll be where
Sometimes
I
you
wanna be.
need a little push.
Now, go.
I know I can. I know I can be what I wanna be. Be what I wanna be. If I work hard at it,
The
if
Boys
I
and
work
Girls
hard at
Club
it, I'll
of
be
Mount
where I wanna
Vernon.
be. I'll be where I
Great
wanna
future
be.
start here. Let's go.
Before we came to this country, we were kings and queens, never porch monkeys. There was empires in Africa called Kush, Timbuktu, where every race came to get books to learn from black teachers who taught Greeks and Romans, Asian Arabs, and gave them gold. When gold was converted to money, it all changed. Money then became empowerment for Europeans. The Persian military invaded. They heard about the gold, the teachings, and everything sacred. Africa was almost robbed naked. Slavery was money, so they began making slave ships. Egypt was the place that Alexander the Great went. He wasn't shocked at the mountains with black faces, shot up their nose to impose what basically still goes on today. You see, if the truth is told, the youth can grow. They learn to survive until they gain control. Nobody says you have to be gangsters. Read more, learn more, change the globe. Ghetto children, do your thing. Hold your head up, little man, you're a king. Young princess, when you get your wedding ring, your man is saying, she's my queen.
I can see the stars all the way from here. Can't you see the
Shout out to all the queens and to all the kings joining us today.
I can feel the sun whenever you're near. Every time you touch me, I just melt away.
Shout out to the greater Hudson Valley of the Links, greater Westchester County. Of the Links, let's go. Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. The legendary Chris Washington. Let's get on the good foot.
You're the only one I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one that always calls when I need you, make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top. Ooh, come on, baby. You put my love on top, 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 top. You put my love on top. Ooh, come on, baby. You put my love on top, 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 top. My love on top, baby, baby. Now I can feel the wind whipping as we dance the night away. And boy, your lips taste like a night of champagne. As I kiss you again and again and again and
Come on
again.
now.
Everybody asks me
Put those hands together.
from ear to ear.
No music needed.
But I know
Now when you got money under Mount Vernon in the building.
it's perfect, but it's worth it after fighting through my tears. And finally you put
Dance on the straight face. You remember?
You're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one that always call when I need you, make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top, baby. You're the one that I love, baby. You're all I need. You're the only thing I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one I can always call when I need you, make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top.
We gotta represent for Mount Vernon.
Tic-tac, towing, 3 in a row. Sit back, relax, listen to it growing as I start going, blowing, flowing, and showing MCs that I am the capital H, able, I'm decent. This is my yard, better get my precinct. No discontent, cause I'm all about pleasing. Ladies come to me because they love squeezing. If you don't see me, I'm probably skeezing. Easy, does it on the smooth tip as I get loose. Kinda like, let's say, rip this format of my rap. Listen to direction, 6'3" with a vanilla complexion. Dance, shake, rock, roll. Heaven's in the house, I got total control. I'ma inject respect, collect a fat check. Heaven's in effect, but you ain't heard nothing yet.
Yeah, you ain't heard nothing yet. We still gotta bring Sister Souljah out. Then you're gonna hear something. Mount Vernon, Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, Greater Hudson Valley Chapter of the Links, Westchester County Chapter, let's go. Thank you very much.
The head mania, trying to figure a way
The
to
legendary
make it
Chris
simple
Washington,
and
come on now.
I'm the hefster, a rap register that flows with cash so fast you can't measure the intent of content that I rap for reason. The format of my rap from past to present tense. Girls, they adore me, they scream for me. Fellas get jealous cause the ladies won't ignore me. Oh, fuck, wait, love.
Shout out to all my AKAs. Shout out to all my Deltas. Shout out to all my Zetas. Shout out to all my Rose. Let's get it.
The baddest. They won't front, they know the heavy.
Shout out to all my
Kappas,
Kappas, all my Alphas, all my Qs, all my Sigmas, let's go. D9 in the building.
Sit back, relax, cause heaven's on the mission.
All my HBCU, let's show the HBCU love, come on.
Heaven's in effect, but you ain't heard nothing yet.
Listen to this rap, cause I'm about to go back on the map and see Heavy D. Delighted you be learning about the place where I rest money, earning my burning.
Come on now. Shout out to Mount Vernon Mayor Sean Patterson Howard.
My time's really quick, but we ain't no saints. And if you think you what think you can, we ain't. We're storming strong, we're taking out never fall. Square
I know they're talking about Howard in that chat. I know that's a Howard comment.
Sure you didn't make the mistake and slip. Now what all about good times and chilling, but you can come and visit, homeboy. That's if you're willing, if you like it so far. You think you want more? Come uptown and I'll take you on a heavy detour of my burning. Jamaica, Mount Vernon, I grew, but I still do my shopping on 4th Avenue. Buy my Nikes from Chambers, then walk down the block, get the gear that I wear from Buddy's Big Man Shop. When it start to get hungry and it's time to eat, buy a burger from Shabazz on 4th Avenue Street. I never forget the place I got my start, around the corner from the crib, and it's called Now in this park, I bang the beat on the seat, bust a rap for the crowd, that was really unique. Bought an 8-year-old kid inside of the 4th grade, and when I grew, they all knew that I get paid. And on my way up, I took no shorts on the court. I played and I slaved, I learned and I taught, and shortly after that, everybody was yearning for head to throw down in the town of Mount Vernon.
And if you got that money up, make sure you donate. Make sure you support the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon.
All the chicken heads, be quiet. All the chicken heads, be quiet. All the chicken heads, be quiet. Yeah, baby, fat man, scoop, face, never sing along. Come on. Yeah, burn up. Yeah, all the good-looking women sing along. I can't hear y'all. Yeah. What's your zodiac sign?
Shout out to all my fellow Aries, baby. My birthday was Sunday. Let's go, Aries in the house. Come on.
If you got more hair, get your hands up. If you got short hair, make noise. If you got more hair, get your hands up. If you got short hair, make noise. If you got more hair on your head, ladies. If you got more hair on your head. If you got long hair on your head, from your ear to your sleeve, even if you got a weave. Yo, can I get up? Can I get up? Can I get up? Ow, ow. Can I get up? Can I get up? Can I get up?
Remix. Remix.
Come on now.
Mr. Flavor Vanilla High.
Hashtag out the party, the legendary Chris Washington. Come on now, let's go. It's okay if you want to get up and dance now. You can sit down when the conversation starts.
Baby, baby, fire they go. All the boys sit down colo, and they want some poro potom potom tom. She con the pium 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 pium. Waka waka baby, uru uru baby, corner corner baby. And I go tell my mama, and I go tell my papa, and I go tell them say, you be waka waka baby, you be chuku chuku baby, baby sawale. Sawa, sawa, sawale. Sawa, sawa, sawale. Hey, hey. Pom, pom, iporokotom, ipom, pom, iporokotom, ipom, pom, iporokotom, ipom, pom, iporokotom. Pakolopa, 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 ipom, pom, ojari papa, ukuma baby, achukurebe, ipom, pom, ashawo, awusha, awusha, ashawo, ashawo, awusha, ipom, pom.
Let's keep on, keep it on. Celebrating Women's History Month. Let's stay optimistic. Let's keep the positive energy going. The legendary Chris Washington, Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon. Come on.
In the midst of sorrow, you can see up and looking down. A brighter day tomorrow will bring. Oh, you hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to your dreams, yeah. As long as you keep your head to the sky, can we? As long as you keep your head to the sky, you can believe this. As long as you keep your face toward the sky.
All right. Hope you're having a good time. Once again, thanks a lot for joining us today. Special thank you to the Westchester County chapter of the Links, Greater Hudson Valley chapter of the Links. I'm the legendary Chris Washington. We'll be back a little later but we're gonna get things started. As you know, great futures start here at the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, New York. Let's take a quick look at the video. Enjoy, we'll see you soon.
He stood about 5'9" tall, but he was a giant. Billy Thomas. He ran the Boys and Girls Club where I grew up. I know today is different. Young people face problems I never even had to think about. But that's why now, more than ever, we need the Boys and Girls Club. It's a positive place where thousands of people like Billy Thomas help young people succeed. Does it work? It did for me. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Good evening from the socially distanced Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, and welcome to our much anticipated conversation with Sister Souljah. Thank you, legendary Chris Washington, for setting the tone with some terrific music. And I hope you all got the chance to see the video of our alum Denzel Washington with his mentor and our past executive director, Mr. Billy Thomas. We are thrilled to host Sister Souljah with our longtime partners, the Greater Hudson Valley Links and the Westchester County, New York Links. And we have to thank our Director of Development, Dr. Traci Alexander, for helping pull this event together. 2020-2021 has been a tremendously challenging year for our country and especially for our community. We've had to shift how we do business from a full-fledged program to virtual programming to offering reduced live programming and expanding our programs to support our entire community. This premier event of our community conversations is designed to engage our community in conversations that need to be had and help us find our role in this new world that is emerging before our eyes. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you for your support. It is now my pleasure to introduce the president of the Greater Hudson Valley Links Incorporated, Ms. Robin H. Williams.
Good evening. My name is Robin H. Williams, and I am the president of the Greater Hudson Valley, New York chapter of the Links Incorporated. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to tonight's program. The Links Incorporated is an organization of African American women founded in 1946 that is devoted to strengthening African American communities through fundraising, education, advocacy, and volunteerism. For over 30 years, the Greater Hudson Valley, New York chapter of the Links Incorporated has provided exemplary programming and services to families living in Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, and Dutchess counties. Through our services to youth program and the arts, led by our program chair, Denise Williams, and chairs and co-chairs, Felita Granby, Chantel Williams, Janice Diowens, and Heather Odom. It gives me great pleasure to collaborate with our longstanding community partner, the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, in the Community Conversation Series. We are happy to work in conjunction on this program with our sister link chapter, Westchester chapter of the Links Incorporated, and all of the community champions. Westchester Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Youth Shelter Program of Westchester, Backyard Sports Cares, and the Manhattan Chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. It's always a pleasure to work with Mel Campos and Dr. Traci Alexander, who work tirelessly for the children and community of Mount Vernon with programs like tonight. I hope you enjoy the melodious sounds coming from the legendary Chris Washington. I know I was jamming in my seat. We are honored to have with us this evening Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson. Thank you so much for being here with us. Family, community, and friends, you are in for quite a treat this evening as the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Community Conversations continue with the prolific author, Sister Souljah, as we discuss her book, Life After Death. You may remember her from the New York Times best-selling author list from her breathtaking genre-bending debut, The Coldest Winter Ever, which I read many, many years ago when I was much younger. But it was an amazing book which sold over millions of copies and introduced the world to the quick-witted, bold, fashionable, erotic, soulful, and undeniable complicated character of Winter Santiago. Now, over 20 years later, the beloved Winter Santiago is back in a highly anticipated sequel, which is entitled Life After Death. And I hope you have your copy. If you did not get it yet, you can order it through the same link that got you here tonight. And you can also check in the chat where they will put the link for you to order. It's the same unique raw voice as it was for its predecessor. Life After Death brings traditional questions of sexuality, violence, culture, soul, and redemption to the forefront, integrating them with authenticity and truthfulness. Sister Souljah illuminates Winter's life after death, and Winter navigates a stunningly imagined other world with her classic fire and fury. So you know tonight's conversation is going to be hot, it's going to be engaging, and it's going to be popping. So once again, welcome, sit back and enjoy the ride with Sister Souljah as she takes us on a journey with life after death. Thank you and welcome once again. Traci, back to you.
Let me unmute. I am sitting on the edge of my seat listening to that introduction, Sister Souljah. Oh my goodness, 22 years. It's been 22 years since we heard from Winter Santiago, right? 22 years. But before we get into the book, and let me say this, for all of our guests that are here, we're not gonna really talk about the book. We're not gonna really talk about the book Life After Death because we do not want to give away the ending. So many people have already read the book, and as we already know, it is a New York Times bestseller. So we know, people know the ending, but so many of us have not read the book, so we cannot give away the ending. But we can certainly get into Winter Santiago. Let's understand her. Let's talk to Sister Souljah, the woman who has given her life. But before we do that, it's a very exciting evening for me because my co-host is none other than the wonderful, the beautiful, the talented Jasmine Pierce. I want you to welcome to the main stage 23-year-old Jasmine, who earned her associate's degree from Morrisville State College, and then went on to pursue her bachelor at SUNY Cortland. I say this because at 23, Jasmine has been coming into the doors of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon since she was 5 years old, since she was 6 years old, around that time. She has been a member of the Boys and Girls Club. And as you know, she has been a young scholar and she has grown up and now she's a teacher. And it's such a privilege and an honor to have her to serve as the co-host of this evening. So all that means is, as she's preparing to decide which HBCU she's going to go to get her master's degree, because she's on her journey to become a principal. And while she's doing that, every day she comes here and she shares her pearls with our young scholars. each and every day. So please, please give a warm virtual welcome from my co-host this evening, Miss Jasmine. Jasmine.
Hi, thank you. That was lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have some questions. Miss Traci, do you want me to just jump right into my questions? Because I have so much I want to say.
You do. But you know what, Jasmine, before we even get into the questions, I think let's just set this up a little bit. And Sister Souljah, you can, jump right in because the conversation came up and I think Robin kind of hit it right on the nail when we talked about it's raw. The coldest winter ever is raw. It's sensual, and all of these things that we've come to know. And I can remember being a young girl reading this book. I couldn't wait to turn the page. I say that to say, because some would say, oh, this book is a little much for the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. So I just want to set the stage and say, great things are happening here at the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. And that is the reason why we have the great Sister Souljah, because she's going to share her journey of how to become and how she became a great and best-selling author and doing things her way. So let's just start there with the tonality, if you will, the verbiage, the energy of the book. You want to start there, Jess?
Yes. So like everyone has said, like Miss Traci and Robin, like the book is raw, it's real, and that's one thing that I really love about the book. So I wanted to know, while writing this book and writing all your other books, have you ever been censored? Because I know the language is a little bit much for certain people to handle, but I just wanted to know, did anyone try to stop you, or did anyone try to convince you to change your tone of your books?
First of all, thank you for having me this evening. And I want to say thank you to the Links. The Links was one of the organizations that gave me a scholarship when I graduated from high school. And it was well needed. So I just want to acknowledge that. And I want to thank Dr. Traci for inviting me and talking to me for the past month or so to make this event possible. In reference to The Coldest Winter Ever, that was my first novel. And as a writer, one thing that I want to do is I want to create characters that feel genuine. And when I create characters, I'm not creating a bunch of imitations of Sister Souljah. I'm creating characters that have their own voice, their own lives, their own experiences, their own loves, their own fears, their own flaws, their own shortcomings. So when it comes to language, I just use the language that matches the character that I've created. And no one interferes with that. The great thing about being an author is it really is a relationship between the soul of the author, the imagination of the author, the mind of the author, and the pen and the pad, and that's it. And I love that because that's how I need to work. When I turn my manuscript into the editor that runs the editorial department at the book company, she doesn't interfere with my creative expression. She just interferes with my typos or my grammatical errors, So no, I'm not having a censorship problem.
Thank you. I like how you said that because you just jumped right into my second question. Because I wanted to know the characters that you use in your book, are they inspired by real people? Because I was reading the book, I'm not gonna say much about it because I don't want to give no tea, but I was listening to the characters and how you're saying that each character has their own kind of personality. It got me questioning, are these characters based on real people? And if so, are you willing to share?
No, first of all, when you are an author and you say it's based on a true story or based on a real person, that should be the truth. But the fact of the matter is this storytelling comes from my, as I said, my imagination and from my soul. But what would be a lie if I said that I'm not influenced by real life. In other words, if I'm writing a story about the hustler's daughter, then the fact of the matter is that there are real hustlers. The hood is real, and there are hustlers that have families and children and so on and so forth. I don't know them. I don't know a Ricky Santiago. I don't know a Winter Santiago. I don't know. So it's not based on those people, but it's based on real things because it addresses real life. I'm careful with my novels to always write very close up and intimately to my community and speak in a language that people can understand and speak in a language that the people speak in. I don't want to write a book just to impress you, you know. I think authors that write books to impress people usually don't have many readers. I think that you should write books to engage people, to bring people closer to you and to bring yourself closer to people and to arouse people's soul and cause them to feel something deep, you know. So that's what I'm going for when I'm writing.
Thank you. Okay, I have one more question. I just wanted to know, because within the book, I know you talk really heavily, like really specifically about certain things that goes on about like around the Black community. So I wanted to know, is that your audience that you're trying to reach out the most? Or are you trying to reach out to all who's willing to listen to your book?
Well, the bottom line is that Life After Death is written to the audience of every living being, of every human being, of every living thing that has a soul. Life After Death is written to all of those potential readers. And Winter Santiago is mainstream. She's pop. She's not just, you know, just for the hood, although she comes from the hood and she loves the hood. She celebrates the hood. She represents the hood, and that's all good. But I think everything in Winter's life resonates for everybody, no matter what their racial or cultural or even linguistic background is. When I wrote the Coldest Winter Ever, for example, it was a riches to rags story. The American writers often write about rags to riches, but I wrote a story about riches to rags. And so kind of flipped it on them. And Life After Death, of course, applies to every human being because each of us are alive and each of us will experience death. And so that makes it relevant to everybody. I think that Life After Death is a fight for the soul of Winter Santiago, a fight for the soul of the reader, a fight for the soul of America, and a fight for the soul of every living being in the globe.
Thank you. Okay, one more question. You're from the Bronx. We all know this already. I just wanted to know what inspired you to even write this book in the first place? Like, how did you become just a regular person from the Bronx to the person you are now? Did anyone inspire you to write these books?
Well, when I was young, I wasn't planning on becoming an author. I was planning on becoming an attorney. That's what I really wanted to do. And my mother used to tell me, you know, if you want to be an attorney, you have to be able to take yourself out of your own shoes and place yourself into the shoes of other people. You have to be able to think about something from all of these different angles and perspectives, not just the thoughts that you have naturally in your own mind. And so even though that's what she told me, I guess in training for me to become the best attorney that I could become, it became very useful for me in becoming a writer. Because in becoming a writer, you have to get past yourself, you know. You have to not only be stuck in your own head, you have to be able to put yourself into other people's shoes and other people's lives. And I think you have to also be very observant, the type of person who is not just thinking about, oh, how do I look right now, or what I'm wearing right now, or what fingernail polish I have on right now. But when you're in the room, you're more focused on the other people in the room and what they're doing. And I think when you're more observant, from coming up from early on, you get to become a better writer because you've moved beyond yourself. You can see maybe this elder in the room, her leg is hurting. And I can tell because of the way she's standing or the way she shifts her weight all the way to the left leg. Or this person here is a smoker. Maybe the person is a chain smoker. And I can tell by the blackening of the lips, you know, or different things that you can tell about people just by observing them, not just negative things, but also positive things as well. And this is the training, I think, for someone to become a really engaging writer. If you can think outside of yourself, if you can empathize with other people, feel other people's feelings, if you could be quiet enough almost to hear other people's thoughts, I think it puts you in a good position to be a writer.
Wow, I love that. And I love that mindset because I think that kind of give you like the advantage for you to create such amazing characters. So my next question to follow after that is, the book is raw, it's real. On page 1, you kept it from the beginning up front. Like when I read I'm not gonna say anything, but when you start the book off, I just know that this is gonna be a great book. You didn't sugarcoat nothing. So I wanted to know, what is the message that you want kids to know about after reading this? Like, what is the message? What do you want the readers to take out of it? Because it's real, but at the same time, I could kind of see it being educational at the same time. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. Like, what is the message?
First of all, this book I didn't really write for kids. Book is a very powerful adult content book. But in my opinion, so was The Coldest Winter Ever. So when I first wrote The Coldest Winter Ever, I would say all of the time when I was out on my book tour in person in the bookstores, I would say to the parents, the young mothers and fathers, that this book is for 16 and up. And I would say some people might think that it's not even for a 16-year-old, it's for 18 and up. And I found that the more that I said that, the more kids read the book.
Yes.
So I would be saying this is an adult content book. And then I would be getting letters from girls that were 11 years young, from guys that were, 12 and 13. I think that when kids see their parents reading a book and their parent says, "Don't touch my book,"
yes,
the kid works extra hard to make sure they read the book. But I just want to state it clearly that it is an adult content book. Also, when I write a story, I'm writing on several different dimensions. And what that means is that every person, every reader has to read the book for himself or for herself. Because I'm writing on so many different dimensions, and there's so much symbolism and so many layers and so many messages. I don't want to dictate what any reader takes from the book. I want each reader to read the book themselves. Don't read the reviews. Don't read somebody else's opinion. Don't read something from someone who didn't read, which happens all the time. Read the book for yourself, and your soul will embrace what your soul needs from the book, instead of the author telling you, this is what you should take away from the book. I think that we have become very casual and very comfortable as a community. I think a lot of times we want to be spoon-fed, but we're not babies. And God gave each one of us a mind to think things through and a soul to feel things. A lot of us have become oversensitive in 2021. And, we see something, oh my God, somebody got shot. Listen, we come from the hood. People get shot. Don't be shocked at that. Just get into the story and let the experience happen to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have just one more question because I don't want to hog up anyone's time, and I'm going to throw, after my last question, I'm going to throw it right back to Ms. Traci. But I wanted to know, have you ever experienced any racism, any sexism while you're developing these books? And what I mean by that, I wanted to know, as a successful Black woman, I wanted to know, did anyone try to change the way that you want to write your books? Because I know in the book you talk some realistic realities about like the hood, the buildings and stuff like that. So I wanted to know, did anyone try to say, I think you should change that, it's too Black, or how about you try it this way? Or as a female, I don't think you should be writing in this tone or this manner. I just wanted to know, did you ever experience that while you're writing these books at all?
A lot of times people get treated based on how they carry themselves. I don't carry myself in a manner to make anybody think they can tell me what to do. I carry myself in a manner that I'm a woman who has thought through everything in regards to myself, and I do what I want to do. And when I enter a business environment, you either want to do business with me based on what I do, or you don't. So I never get in a situation where somebody says, well, we're paying you to do this, so do it this way. No one dares to say this to me, because I don't carry myself the way that would give anyone the impression that they can do that, with me. So no, I don't experience that. In the financial world, everyone is going to feel the reality of racism, because maybe you may not earn the same amount as an author who is writing books that are selling at the same rate that your books are selling. Or maybe you might find that someone is hardly selling any books at all and still making, larger amounts. But in terms of the content and the creativity, no, I don't encounter a problem. And a lot of people don't know this, but the book publishing world is mostly female. The executives are mostly women. So you encounter a lot of women, and we wouldn't attach the label sexism there, but women, we have to, figure out how to get along, because it doesn't mean that just because you're a woman that you're right. It doesn't mean just because you're a woman that you're good. It doesn't mean just because you're a woman that you're honest. it doesn't mean just because you're a woman that you are not also a sexist who discriminates against other women. So I don't kind of see the world in the same kind of way that maybe other people do, or the way we are all herded to see the world. I just see it for what it actually is.
Okay. Thank you for that. I wanted to know your books. I'm getting so many compliments. They're telling me you gotta read this, you gotta read this. So my question is there a certain order of your books? Is there a certain order? Because I know there's a book talk about Midnight Alone. I know this one, you just had this one. I know the first book. So I just want to know, is there a certain order for us to read your books? And are they all connected?
All of my books are what is known as standalone books, meaning you can read them anytime and you will get a full story and a full understanding of whatever's going on in that book. But there is an order to which I wrote them, and then there's the order to which they fit together. For example, with Winter Santiago, The Coldest Winter Ever was my first novel. And after that novel, in the Winter series, I wrote a book about Winter's middle sister, who was named Porsche Santiago. And Porsche Santiago's book is called A Deeper Love Inside, the Porsche Santiago story. She's also the hustler's daughter, but like many sisters, you know, not all sisters of the same mother and father have the same personality. So she's a little different than Winter, but she's fire. So I wrote A Deeper Love Inside, the Porsche Santiago story, and then Life After Death. So in the Winter series, it would be The Coldest Winter Ever, A Deeper Love Inside, Life After Death. And then in The Coldest Winter Ever, everybody fell in love with Midnight. And he has his own series. So the first Midnight book I wrote was Midnight, a Gangster Love Story. It's not a love story about a gangster, but it's a love story about a young man whose love is gangster. And after Midnight, a Gangster Love Story, I wrote Midnight and the Meaning of Love. And in Midnight and the Meaning of Love, the character Midnight travels, you know, the world. And it's, to me, might be my favorite of all the books that I have written. And then the third Midnight book is called A Moment of Silence, Midnight 3. So you see, there are two series that both came out of The Coldest Winter Ever. And I call one series the Winter series, and I call the other the Midnight series.
Wow, thank you. Because in this book, Midnight, I got to read that one, because the way I heard about him in this book, I was like, I got to see Midnight. In my head, it's just different type of forms, but it's juicy. So thank you for being very creative on your character, because I'm in love. I'm about to read your books in order, and I'm about to read your favorite book because it's just wow. Just wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. I wanted to know, like, also in the book, I noticed that you talk really heavily on your father. So I wanted to know your relationship. I don't know if it's too personal, please, if it is, you don't, but I just wanted to know, do you have that same bond in person? Like, how is your relationship?
First of all, just remember, these are novels. They're not based on me, and they're not based on my father. Okay, so it's very interesting that you said that way, because I did have an experience. One day I was in Harlem, this was years ago. I was sitting in my car in the driver's side, and a man came up to my window and knocked, and I lowered the window, and he said, "Hey, Sister Souljah, I did time with your father." And I said, "You did time with my father?" And he said, "Yeah, Ricky." So I was like, okay, he thinks Ricky Santiago is a real person who's incarcerated in prison. Now, there are a million men incarcerated in prison, but Ricky Santiago is a character. So you know, and there may be some person who's named Ricky Santiago also, but he's not the character from The Coldest Winter Ever. So I said to him, I said, you know what? I said, you didn't do time with my father because my father didn't do time. I said, I'm from the Bronx. Winter Santiago's from Brooklyn. My father's a janitor. Used to be a truck driver. Never went to prison. So people in the hood get confused between nonfiction and fiction. And the books, the novels that I write, novels are fiction. And that means that it's not about me. It's about the character.
And I just want to say this, and listening to this conversation, Jasmine, I am just listening to how you are handling this interview, how you are handling this conversation. I'm on the edge of my seat. Just give me a moment. I'm so proud of Miss Jasmine. So please, allow me that moment. And the reason why I want to say this is you are inspiring us. Sister Souljah, you have inspired, you continue to inspire, you empower us to be ourselves, period. Be your greater self. Now, that being said, as I'm listening to Jasmine and I'm listening to this conversation, what can you tell us has been the greatest obstacle, the greatest challenge that you, Sister Souljah, that you have endured, you've overcome, that can help us be better at teaching our young scholars, helping them become their best self and be their best self the way you have, and be unapologetically their best self?
The biggest obstacle. Well, I think one's thinking may be the biggest obstacle. If you know how to think, then you can survive this fight, which is called life. I think if you let too many things affect you and push you around, limit you and block you and stop you, I think that you'll have a very difficult time achieving anything in this journey. So I think knowing how to think with a clear mind, which would mean that you don't fill your body with narcotics or alcohol or even unhealthy foods, artificial ingredients. All of these things factor into your brain health, your ability to think about a thing. A lot of times a person will have a problem and will say, well, this was my only option. I know it was a bad thing, but it was my only option. It wasn't your only option. It's the only option your brain manufactured. So I think that life requires prayer, first and foremost, prayer. That's you engaging your soul. I believe your soul is where God talks to you, speaks to you. And I think people who don't pray miss out on the conversation that God is having inside of your soul. And so you lose some of your power. So there you are. If you're not praying, you're vulnerable. It's like being naked. It's like going out to work without your clothes on if you're not praying. And then after faith and prayer, it's your mind, it's your thinking. I would encourage young people to read, to not be lazy, to study to not be lazy, to not let all of the technological advances make you a person who doesn't research things. Now we have at our fingertips Google. So we'll just Google something, and whatever Google says, in our minds, that'll be the law. When I was young, you had to know how to research. You had to know how to use the public library. You had to know about archives. When you took something from somebody's work, you had to use footnotes. You had to have a bibliography. You had to be honest that this is not your own work. You had to give credit to the original writers and things like this. So I think the biggest obstacle to an individual is herself or himself. So if you can move beyond the limitations that you impose on yourself, then you can win the fight and the struggle that is real and that does exist. All of the things that we're faced with as African people in America, racism, all of that stuff is real and it does exist. Police brutality and police murders and all of that stuff is real and it does exist. But we are challenged with having to figure out how to fight and win, how to get around the monsters, metaphorically, the monsters that we all encounter, on earth. So you will need your prayers, your faith, and you will need your mind, and you will need your health to not be an obstacle to yourself.
I just will wrap it up just by Susan Bailey said jewels. Susan Bailey, I agree, jewels. I call them pearls, and sharing the pearls and just dropping those pearls. So when we come back in tomorrow morning and we are working with our young scholars and helping to mold and educate them, and looking at someone like Jasmine, who has spent her life here growing up in the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, and making sure that she pays it forward, that she teaches the next group of young women, right? It's these kinds of pearls that we need to share. And I thank you for that. This is the reason why we're so grateful that you took time out to sit with us. That being said, as Susan Bailey, I see you talking about jewels. Are there any questions? Because I know we've got a lot of people here in this Zoom room. They have come to see you and hear from you. And while you are here, I do want to open it up and allow our guests to ask questions. While we are thinking of questions, I believe you can put the question in the chat box. I think there is a special button, a Q&A button that I'm looking now, I don't see anything, but please put your question or your comment, or just whatever it is that you want to share this evening with Sister Souljah. But while that's happening, I know we're not going to talk about the book in great detail, right? Because we don't want to give it away. We don't want to give away the ending. But I do have to talk about my favorite character, Winter Santiago. If you can tell us, without giving it away, what's happening with her in life after death?
I think what is happening with Winter is what's happening with each of us. And that is, she's having to face herself. And I think every individual has to face him or herself. We all have something that we need to be mindful of, or something that we need to correct. A lot of times, we as women think, the definition of strong. I'm a strong woman because I'm bold, or I'm a strong woman because I'm outspoken, or I'm a strong woman because I have a degree, or I'm a strong woman because I have a profession. And I like to poke at that sometimes and see, is that all there is to it? Is that the only definition of womanhood? Is that 360 degrees of power? So I think in 2021, we're at a point where we have to look at ourselves as women, whole women, you know, the whole circle, the 360 degrees, all of the layers and all of the dimensions, and make sure that the spiritual dimension is cleaned up a bit. You know, a lot of us and a lot of people who are speaking in front of audiences have been glorifying a lot of things that are not beautiful, period. And getting away with it because they say, I'm a woman. Okay. But the fact that we are women is not to our credit. God made us women and God made men men. So you shouldn't wear your womanhood like it's some badge, some great thing you did. You didn't do it. God did it. God gave it to you. All right. But can you be considering yourself to be a strong woman if you're strong, but you're not beautiful? Not beautiful in terms of your cosmetics or your hairstyle, but beautiful in terms of your soul and your attitude. Beautiful in terms of, do you have love? Are you able to love? Are you able to allow someone to love you? These are the things that I think in our community puts us in a crisis situation. When you get to the point where men and women can't and don't get along. We have momentary sexual encounters. But do we have a powerful love that creates family and families that have joy, you know, and direction and guidance? So Winter in Life After Death is facing herself. And we all know what that means. And when each of us is facing ourselves, hopefully we will find out what that means for us individually as readers and as people.
Wow. I am on the edge of my seat. I am getting a note that there are some questions in the chat box. So allow me to turn and just, I think we all had to digest that. Yes, Felita, I got you. Felita just texted me and said, you are awesome. You are awesome. And I so agree. I just wanted to put that out there. Vanessa says, hi, Sister Souljah. Thank you for this fabulous session. Yes, indeed. What inspired you to choose such spectacular characters? And how did you find them in your creative mind? I kind of think you talked about that, but just is there something else that you may want to share with Vanessa?
Let me see. Well, I have always been on the move since I was young, and traveling since I was young, even though I came from a financially very, very poor underclass family. I did find that if I studied well, I could compete for a lot of different scholarships. And if I won those scholarships, I would win certain opportunities. So by traveling, first in the United States of America, and then ultimately out of the United States of America, I have met so many men, so many women, so many children from all around the world, that when I go to create characters, I want to have that diversity. I don't want to just have a book that's filled with only the people that was from my block, because, you know, that's limited and that's familiar. One thing I say when I'm choosing a book is, I want to choose a book that's going to teach me something that I don't already know. I don't want to read a story where I'm like, oh yeah, this is Mo from down the street. Oh yeah, this is, this is Felicia from up the block, and that's fine to have some of those characters, but I want more than that. So I want more themes. I want a more intricate plot. I want more diversity. I want more friction. I want more action. So when I'm making my characters, I have all of that in mind.
And that leads me to this next question. Yes, Kim Blair, I see your question. I think we all want to know the answer to this one. Are we going to see The Coldest Winter Ever on the silver screen or in some type of production?
Well, Dr. Traci, one word I shared with you in planning this event was inshallah.
Inshallah. Yes, you taught me that.
And this word means God willing. I find with all of my work, with everything that I write and everything that I do, it only becomes real if God is willing. So inshallah, we will see The Coldest Winter Ever in film, on the widescreen. And there is a deal in place. I'm not really at liberty to discuss the details of it because of the, well-known confidentiality agreement. But just know that when it comes to my art, I'm fighting for the top of my excellence. I'm fighting for the highest quality possible. So it takes time.
Indeed.
If I was just out here, cash and carry, like, well, how much you gonna give me for it? If I was that kind of a businesswoman, you all would have seen it already, 22 years ago. But that's not the kind of business woman that I am. I want to protect the integrity of my art, the meaning of my characters, the look of my characters. And for me, that meant that with The Coldest Winter Ever, I needed to write the screenplay myself. I need to be involved in the production, the producing of it and the direction of it myself. And it took some time for me to get to that level. But until I got to that level, I was not compromising.
Oh my goodness. I know our time is coming to a close, but yes, Arlene, I need to let you know, Arlene said, hi, Sister Soul, just want to say I love your work. I've been a fan ever since you gave me a signed pre-release copy of The Coldest Winter, one late night, when you came from Kinko's. I think this was 1999. And I helped with some of the artwork on your husband's album cover. And so she goes on to say, I'm not a big reader, but I wasn't able to put your book down because it kept me so engaged. All the best and continued success. That's from Marlene. And that's what a great author does. You can't put the book down. And thank you for that. I just want to end on this note. Yes, Robin, I did get your question. Robin said, I've heard that authors speak to their characters as in a real person, as in real people. Do you speak with yours? And if yes, who do you speak with?
I don't speak to my characters. They speak inside of my mind. So I don't need to answer them back. But the characters are in my mind. Like, no matter what I'm doing, my characters are inside of me. And that's the reason why I use the expression that the characters come from the soul. And there's not one character that I engage in my thoughts and in my soul over another one. But there are characters that I feel more deeply than other characters. The Midnight character, for example, is a character that's very much with me, very much with me. And even when I go to do business, I say, oh, midnight is off the table. And people say, what do you? I say, don't touch it. It's not for you. It's not for you to touch. So if you were to look at my contracts, whether it's books or movies or whatever it is, there's always a clause that says, this contract does not apply to the Midnight series. Why? Because I want to protect the purity of that character, Midnight. And that character, Midnight, represents my understanding of manhood. And I think that the whole meaning of manhood and the whole concept of manhood has been attacked and manipulated and infected. And I take it as my personal responsibility to protect the purity of the meaning of manhood. And for me, that is in the character Midnight and all 3 books of the Midnight series. And I am also writing Midnight 4. So there it is.
I think, Mel, I think you got the answer to your question. And then, yes, applause, applause, applause. Yes, yes, Terry Joyner, I see you. Terry's over there applauding. She's getting ready. She's going to wrap us up, but she's applauding over there. I see you, Robin, absolutely. And with that being said, here's the big question. Are you planning, will you ever write children's books?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I have, listen, I have so many books in my head. It is unbelievable. So many books in my head. I definitely have had children's books in my mind, but they just kind of got sidelined from the other books that I was writing. You know, in my activism capacity, I used to develop camps for children. And we would have sleepaway camps, you know, that would operate for the summertime. And the parents would come to drop their children to the bus so that we could all get in the bus and go to the camp. And the parents would always say, Sister Souljah, what about us? You know, you need to make a camp for us, for the parents. People think that the parents, you know, don't need anything, but the parents need a lot. Well, why am I telling you this little story? Because my focus had always been on young people, even though I didn't write any children's books thus far. And when my focus was primarily on young people for all those years, the parents was like, you need to focus on the parents, because the parents are the ones guiding the young people. And I wrote the books for people 16 and up. And that for me was focusing on the parents. So I need to loop back around and put out my children's book series, because it's definitely in my head, like already written inside of my mind.
Absolutely. And I believe we are ready. We are waiting. I'm reading what's in the chat right now. We can't wait. And I think we will be online waiting to get the copy of that children's book. And I think Susan Bailey, how do I make a contribution to? I didn't see the end of it. So if anybody saw the end of that, Susan, forgive me, it just went away. But I'll get the answer to that question. How do you make a contribution to the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon? Yes, you can, we will actually, that's Mel's cue. He will share how we can do that. So let Mel Campos answer that. With that being said, our time has come to an end. This has been awesome. This has been awe-inspiring. Absolutely. Sister Souljah, we can't get enough of you. Thank you so much for being unapologetically you. And thank you for helping us look in the mirror and become a little bit more like Winter Santiago. Just a little bit more to get in tune with ourselves and start to get real with it, okay? And sometimes it might mean you got to get a little raw with it as well. So we thank you for that. Thank you. And we know the time zone, it was about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning where you are
It's
right
3
now.
o'clock in the morning where I am.
3 o'clock in the morning, and she's
Yes.
rocking with us, everyone. So just virtual love.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing that bestseller once again, 22 years later. Thank you so much. With that, we bid you adieu. Terry Joyner, the president of the Westchester County, New York chapter of the Links Incorporated. Would you please bring us your parting words?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I am Terry Joyner, president of Westchester County chapter of New York. I don't know about y'all, but I know Sister Souljah, you have dropped some pearls of wisdom on me, and I hope all of y'all can agree with me. It is fabulous, but I want to say thank you and good evening to everyone for attending and supporting on the behalf of the 57 members of the Westchester County, New York chapter of the Links, where we have served over 70 years in our community, focusing on education, mentoring, and community service. It has been our pleasure to join with our sister chapter, the Greater Hudson Valley, and the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon to support the youth in this program. So please join me in thanking Sister Souljah, Dr. T, as we know her to be, and the young Miss Jasmine Pierce. Girl, y'all were fabulous and engaging in a real conversation as a part of this community conversation series. So let's keep that applause going as we thank the legendary Chris Washington for setting the tone this evening with that fabulous get down music. I know I was dancing in my seat and wanted to jump up too. And to our community champions, the Youth Shelter Program of Westchester, the Westchester Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Backyard Sports Care. We thank you for being a community champion, for supporting our youth. And thank you to all the attendees, supporters, because remember, your giving supports our youth, who are our future. And I just want to leave you with this quote that I read in the prologue of Sister Souljah's newest book. She says, "We say we didn't feel it, but we felt it. We say we didn't see it, but we saw it. We say we didn't hear it, but we heard it. We pretended we never knew it, but we know it." Who? All of us. Girl, and that's just resonated with me. So now it is my pleasure to bring back to this virtual stage Mel Campos, the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. Over to you, Mel.
Thank you very much, Terry. Sister Souljah, thank you so much. You brought it home. You made us think. You made us question. Couple of small things that hit me. You talked about the way you carry yourself. You talked about that no one messes with you because of how you carry yourself. That's a message that our young people need to understand. How you carry yourself says everything about you, and sometimes says things you don't want to say. So thank you for making us think about that. And then you talked about obstacles to ourselves. I call it staying out of our own way. We all get in our own way at times. Growth is about learning how to get out of our own way. I want to really thank Dr. Traci Alexander for pulling this together, facilitator extraordinaire. Thank you for empowering Jasmine Pierce for doing an awesome job. Jasmine, we are proud of you. I remember the conversation about 5 years ago where I told you it was time for you to lead. You took me seriously. You are leading. Thank you. Our sponsors, Greater Hudson Valley Links, Westchester County, New York Links. Our organization is better and stronger because of our collaboration. Greater Hudson Valley Links, you got us to make our healthy snack program really about healthy snacks. So we thank you and look forward to continuing to work with you. Our community champions, Backyard Sports, the Youth Shelter of Westchester, the alumna of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. Let's show our communities what it is to really collaborate. I'm excited about the possibilities. To our guests, hope you enjoyed this premiere event of our community conversations. We ask you to join us on April 11th, where our next community conversation will take place. We will be joined by Google Vice President, Ms. Benita Stewart, and former White House correspondent, Ms. Jacqueline Adams. That promises to be a fascinating Sunday afternoon. If you enjoyed this, please consider supporting Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. You can support us by donating through our website, BGCMVNY.org. There's a donate button, there's a Sister Souljah button. We welcome and thank you for your donations. Great things are happening at the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. This has been a fabulous evening. I want to finally thank our board of directors who took a leap of faith in letting us do this. We sometimes try to go a little bit outside the box, but we need to all work together and believe in each other, that we're all working for a common goal and a common cause, and that is to continue to develop great leaders in our Mount Vernon community. With that, I'm going to turn it back to the legendary Chris Washington. Take us away. Thank you and good night.
Come on now, put your hands together for everybody. Thank you, Sister Souljah. Westchester County, Chapter of the Links, Greater Hudson Valley, Chapter of the Links, Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon.
Yo, what's up? You're listening to the legendary Chris Washington.
Would you join me, please, in welcoming Redeemer full of culture. Get it. I got so much trouble on my mind. Refuse to lose. Here's your ticket. Hear the drummer get wicked. The crew to you to push the back the black attack. So I sack and tap and slap the Mac. Now I'm ready to mic it.
major. Ways to blaze your brain and train you. The way I'm living, forgiving what I'm giving up. X on the flex, living now. I don't know about later. As for now, I know how to avoid the paranoid. Man, I've had it up to here. Yeah, I wear, got them going in fear. Rhetoric said and read just a bit ago. And not quick to go sign the hard rammer. What to keep from getting jerked, changing some ways. The way back in the better days. Raw, metaphysically bold, never follow the code. Still drop the load, never question what I am, God knows. Cause it's coming from the heart. What I got, better get something on up. Hustler of culture, snake bitten, been spit in the face. But the rhymes keep fitting, respect's been given, how's you living? Now I can't protect, I paid off defect. Check the record and record, unintentional wreck. Playing over some intellect. Made the call, took the fall, broke the laws. Not my fault that they're falling off. Known as fair and square throughout my years. So I growl at the living foul. Black to the bone, my home is your home. Well, welcome to the Terror Dome. Terror Dome.
Yeah, we want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Special thank you to Sister Souljah. Special thank you to the Greater Hudson Valley chapter of the Links. Special thanks to the Westchester County, New York chapter of the Links. We gon' be alright. Let's go now.
We gon' be alright.
Make sure you support the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon.
We gon' be alright.
Hashtag on the party, legendary Chris Washington. Come on now. We gonna do it.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even boom with the face down. Skimming, and let me tell you about my life.
On the social media at the legendary CW.
Benjamin is the highlight.
Hashtag on the party, let's go.
I like, Lord knows. 20 of them in my Chevy, tell them all to come and get me, reaping everything I sow. So my karma come in heaven, no preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a gangsta in silence for the record. Tell the world I know it's too late. Boys and girls, I think I've gone crazy. Trying to decide my vices all day. Won't you please believe when I say, when you know we've been hurt, been
you can
down
catch me in the
before.
mix Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. on rhythmandsoulradio.com.
And we hate po-po when they kill us
and
dead
every
in the
Sunday,
street for sure.
2 p.m. to 4 p.m. We'll pop some Baby Powder's Gospel House Sunday. Let's go, people. We gon' be alright. Let's get it.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright.
Stay tuned for information for the next event from the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon.
What you want? You a house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything. See, my name is Lucy, I'm your dog. You can live at the mall.
Here it is.
I can see the evil, I can tell it. I know it's illegal. I don't think about it. I deposit every other zero. Thinking of my partner, put the candy, painting on a Rico, digging in my pocket, and a profit big enough to feed you every day. My logic, get another dollar just to keep you in the presence of your Chico. I don't talk about it, be about it. Every day I see cool. If I got it, then you know you got it. Heaven, I can reach you. Pet dog, my dog, that's all. Pick back and chat, I trap the back for y'all. I rap, I black on tracks, so rest assured. My rights, my wrongs, I right till I'm right with God. When you know we've been hurt, been down before. When our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? And we hate
your
po-po
vaccine.
when they kill us dead in the street for sure.
We'll see you the next
I'm
go
at the
round.
preacher's door. My knees getting weak and my gun might blow.
The
but
Boys
we
and
gon' be
Club,
alright.
Boys and Girls Club of Greater Mount Vernon.
We gon' be alright.
The legendary Chris Washington. We'll see you. Bye-bye now.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright.
Number 33 in your program and number 1 in your hearts.
Check it out. The legendary Chris Washington.
You know how we do.
He's so legendary.
Love me is complicated. Too afraid of life changes. I'm alright in your favor. Dark nights and my prayers.
I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Sometimes I did.